Jesus. Think I've never done this before. Hi, good morning. Good morning. Sorry, I'm getting things set up still. I am a mess right now. Good morning. My name is Andrew. This is the Ugly Review for Sunday, April 21st, 2024. It is 6:10 a.m. Central Standard Time, U.S. Good morning. How are you? Good morning. How are you? I just need to set up. There we go. There we go. That looks a little better. How's this looking over? Crap on a cracker, dude. Sorry. I'm running behind. It's in the description. I'm running behind. Good morning. How are you? I'm doing well, thanks. I'm a little discombobulated. Let me see how this looks. But I'm doing well, thank you. How's your weekend going? Did you have a good 420? Did you have a good 420? I don't know. I guess I consume edibles, so I wasn't like chiefing it up real big or anything like that. Okay, it looks like this looks pretty good on screen, actually. All right, cool. My volume working? Whoa, I don't think it is. Is this not picking up? Come on, man. Oh, it is. Sorry. Sorry. I'm so sorry. You think I'd never done this before? Is your 420 good? I hope it was. Jesus Christ. Let's open with something good. Grandma accidentally prays to Elrond from Lord of the Rings. This is BBC. This was, this was all the way from 2017. Someone posted this earlier, like it was from just yesterday. And I had never heard this story. So I just thought I'd open with it because it's kind of adorable. A Brazilian grandmother has been praying to a figurine from Lord of the Rings for years without realizing it. The woman thought she was praying to Saint Anthony, but it turns out the figure was Elrond, the Lord of Rivendell. Her relative, Gabriela Brandau, made the discovery and posted it on Facebook with the caption, "The funniest discovery of 2016. Okay. So yeah, this is a while ago. I don't know why I saw this posted like it was a news story from yesterday. That's funny. Who is Saint Anthony? Let's look into this. We all know who Lord Elrond of Rivendell is. Saint Anthony of Padua is one of the Catholic Church's most popular saints. He's usually pictured holding baby Jesus in his arms. According to saintanthony.org, Saint Anthony of Padua's life is what every Christian's life is meant to be: a steady courage to face the ups and downs of life, the call to love and forgive, to be concerned for the needs of others, to deal with crises great and small, and to have our feet solidly on the ground of total trusting love and dependence on God. So what now for Gabriela's daughter's great-grandmother? Why don't you just ask her? Never mind. According to Gabriella, she's got a new figure. This time it's the real deal. That's the funniest thing that's ever happened to me. It's cute, right? It's charming. This little old lady thinking she's doing the right thing. She's just praying. And it happens to be Elrond. Poor little Elrond. Okay. Something else that's funny. I'm going to have to figure out my screen here. Something else that's funny is the Disney stock. Now, I want to show you something right here. Here's April 2nd. This is the day they had the meeting. No, April 3rd is when they had their meeting. So, here's April 2nd. 123 was the high on April 2nd, it looks like. And then after their meeting, on April 3rd, 122, and oh boy, oh no. Oh shoot. Oh shucks. Oh darn. So now they're at about 112. Okay. Good job. Whatever. And then starting off with some other funny news. Google Google fires 28 employees after a sit-in protest over controversial Project Nimbus contract with Israel. Now, this is the result of your DEI hirings, right? This is what happens when you hire activists. Let me move this around. This is what happens when you hire activists. Okay. Google has terminated the employment of 28 staff following a prolonged sit-in protest at the company's Sunnyvale and New York offices. The employees were protesting against Project Nimbus, a $1.2 billion cloud computing contract inked by Google and Amazon with the Israeli government and its military 3 years ago. The controversial project, which reportedly also provides Israel with the full suite of Google Cloud's AI and machine learning technology, allegedly has strict contractual stipulations that prevent Google and Amazon from bowing to boycott pressure. This effectively means that they must continue providing services to Israel no matter what. The conflict. Employees at Google have protested and publicly chastised the contract since 2021, but the Israel-Palestine conflict continues to escalate in the wake of last October's. I want to make this very clear. I am just reading this because I think it's funny that all of this is happening at Google. I don't give a fucking shit about the Israel-Gaza. I don't care about sides. I don't care. You know what I want? I don't want innocent people to die. That's it. I don't give a shit. So no, I'm not going to pick a side. I don't care about sides. I just care that this is funny that Google is getting a taste of their own medicine. The conflict. Employees at Google have protested and publicly chastised the contract since 2021, but the Israeli-Palestine conflict continues to escalate in the wake of last October's attacks by Hamas. This unrest is spilling further into the workforces of corporations deemed not only to be helping Israel, but actively profiteering from the conflict. While the latest rallies included demonstrations outside Google's Sunnyvale and New York offices, as well as Amazon's Seattle HQ, protesters went one step further by going inside the buildings, including the office of Google Cloud CEO Thomas Kurian. In a statement issued to TechCrunch via anti-big tech advocacy firm Justice Speaks, Hassan Ibrahim, a Google software engineer participating in the New York City sit-in protest, said that by providing cloud and AI infrastructure to the Israeli military, Google is directly implicated in the genocide of the Palestinian people. Okay, so all of these DEIs, all of these kids who think they were born in year zero, they've been convinced that they have to fight every single colonization injustice that has ever existed. And they do believe that they were born in year zero, right? They don't think that anything important happened before them. If they had actually studied history, they may realize that nothing they do is going to change what is happening in the Middle East. Nothing at all. But they don't care about history. They all think that they know everything, every single one of them. And they all think that they know everything because they can Google stuff. And they've been told their entire lives how great and strong and wonderful they are and how smart and superior they are. It's like, oh, you're so special. You're so great. You're so wonderful. You're so beautiful. You're so special. You don't have to change for anyone. You don't have to get better. The world has to change for you. They believe that. So when they see something in the Middle East happening and it doesn't change like that and nobody listens to them, they freak out because their entire life they've gotten what they wanted, to the point where they think that they can go into a CEO's office, their employer, the CEO of their workplace. They think they can just interrupt a business meeting over a protest for a war that is thousands of miles away. You're fucking fired. Get out. Like this, we're going to be in a lot of trouble soon. I can kind of relate this. Soon, we're in trouble now. I mean, we're going to be in a lot worse trouble soon. I can relate this to an experience I had just yesterday. I had to return a car battery to Advance Auto Parts. I bought one of their brand batteries, which is like a Duralast battery, a Duralast Gold, and I bought it in January, and it's already dead. So I took it back. I got an AC Delco, and the truck's running great. Now it is, anyway. Took the battery back to Advance Auto Parts. I took it in there, and there's this young woman working there. And she's, she's a diverse woman. She's got the piercings and dyed hair and the attitude and everything. And, she doesn't, the monotone way in which they all speak is so incredibly terrible, right? It's like, hello, what do you want? Oh, okay, yeah, can I get you, can I see your ID? No, I don't care. They just don't give a fuck. They really don't. Like, they can't be bothered with anything. So I go in, I set the battery up on the counter, and I say, hey, I bought this battery about 4 months ago, and it's dead. I'd like to return it. And so she goes into the system, types some stuff up. A couple seconds later, she walks over to the rack of batteries and carries one over, sets it down, gets back to the computer, and I say, what's that for? Is that for an exchange? And she says, yeah. And I say, oh, I don't want an exchange. I want to return this. And she goes, why would you want to do that? And I say, because I got a better battery. I bought an AC Delco. This battery failed after 4 months. Why would I want to replace it with another battery of the same kind? And she's like, okay, I guess. And the manager's like standing a little over to the side, and he walks over. He's like, what's going on? And he's like, he's returning the battery. Guess he doesn't want to exchange. Like, every single one of them thinks that they know everything. They think they know what's best about everything. And I just remember when I was a kid, when I was younger, and if I took a new job now, when I went into the employer, they told me what to do, right? I was like, you tell me what to do. This is your place of business. It's your job. I came to you looking for a job to make some money so I could get some gas and a burger and some weed. So I want a job. So tell me what to do. So then it's like, okay, here's what you do, and here's how you do it. Now do it. Get to work. Are you really, like, if you don't want to be there, quit. If you're going to complain the whole time, if you're going to act like you're bothered about everything, quit. You don't run the place. You went to the employer. You do what they say. They can't force you to do it. If you don't like it, quit. Go somewhere else. And it's this, I don't know. I understand, and I think I said this last week, the younger generation thing. Every generation thinks that a generation that comes after them, like the younger generations, is dumb, because they are. They don't know anything. They don't have any life experience. But it's getting so bad. It's the amount of respect has fallen off a cliff, right? No, young people anymore do not respect their elders. And it's not, respecting your elders is not, you don't do every single thing they say, but you give them some room and you look to them for guidance because you understand they came before you and they've seen more than you and they've done more than you. So you show them some respect. That's completely gone. All of these young people now, the workers, right? They've been convinced that they're the most important, powerful, special group of people that has ever existed. And so they act like this. It is my responsibility to do everything I can to end this contract, even while Google pretends nothing is wrong, Ibrahim said. The idea of working for a company that directly provides infrastructure for genocide makes me sick. We've tried sending petitions to leadership, but they've gone ignored. We will make sure they can't ignore us anymore. We will make as much noise as possible. So many workers don't know that Google has this contract with the Israeli Offensive Forces. So many don't know that their colleagues have been facing harassment for being Muslim, Palestinian, and Arab and speaking out. So many people don't realize how complicit their own company is. It's our job to make sure they do. Go work somewhere else. Go support someone else. Rather than trying to tear something down, right? Go build something else that's better. Because if you leave this, it'll collapse. Right? If you all leave, it'll collapse. Have the courage of your convictions. 9 Google workers were also arrested and forcibly removed from the company's offices, 4 in New York and 5 in Sunnyvale. A separate statement issued by Justice Speaks on behalf of the Nimbus 9 protesters said they had demanded to speak with Kurian, but their request was denied. And then here's the full statement, and okay, whatever. And then, yeah, well done, Google, and then shame on Google for using scare tactics to try to silence its employees, is what one person commented. Scare tactics to try to silence employees. Scare tactics would be pulling them aside into a dark broom closet and saying, if you say a fucking word, I'll burn your house down. That's a scare tactic. You calling the police because they trespassed into the CEO's office during a meeting and wouldn't leave and go back to work? That's not a scare tactic. That's just being held accountable. Nobody wants to be held accountable anymore. Okay, so there's that. I don't know why I decided to start with that. I just thought it was funny that Google was getting a taste of its own medicine, and these morons who think they know everything got arrested. It's pretty funny. What's next on the docket? You know what? Let me... Oh, it reminded me of, do you guys remember this? Because I sure do. It reminded me of this guy and gal who worked for Google, and they were at an Austin City Council meeting complaining about their employment with Google, and just, you remember this? Watch.
Bargain in good faith. There are less than 50 of us at YouTube Music, and we're taking 2 of the largest corporations in the world. So to be supported by the city of Austin and also our allies in the labor community, give us the motivation to keep this fight going.
Not to interrupt, but they just laid us all off.
Oh.
Yeah, they just laid us all off.
We just all
Our jobs are ended today.
Ended.
Effective immediately.
Wow.
I'm sorry your time's expired, but we'll follow up on this. Thank you.
And bargain in good faith.
Oh.
There are less than 50 of us at YouTube Music.
Timing
and we're taking
is
2 of the largest
just
corporations in
perfect.
the world.
one more time.
So to be supported by the city of Austin and also our
And
allies in the labor community,
she's
give us the
upset.
motivation to keep this
She's
fight going.
real
Not to
upset.
interrupt, but they just laid us all off.
Like she's quivering.
Oh.
Yeah, they just laid us all off.
We just all.
I
guess we
kinda
just
feel
all
sorry
got
for
Jobs
lost.
but-
are ended today. Effective immediately.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm sorry your time's expired, but we'll follow up on this.
Ding. Wow. Oh, it could not be more perfect. I almost feel sorry for that young lady, right? Like, she's upset. She seems like she really wanted to keep her job. She's upset. She'll be okay. She'll be fine. This is so fucking funny. Not that Google cares, but probably not the best look for them. Okay. So, and speaking of being fired, Here's did you hear about this? See this? Seen this? You heard about this? What's the deal with peanuts? Oh, a man self-immolated outside of the Trump trial in New York. Speaking of being fired. Now, I can't show the live video. I'm pretty sure I can't show the live video on YouTube. But video cameras, this is the AP reporting. This is updated April 20th, 2024. New York, AP. Video cameras stationed outside the Manhattan courthouse where former President Donald Trump is on trial caught the gruesome scene Friday of a man who lit himself on fire and the aftermath as authorities tried to rescue him. CNN, Fox News Channel, and MSNBC were all on air with reporters talking about the seating of a jury when the incident happened, and other news agencies, including the AP, were live streaming from outside the courthouse. The man who distributed pamphlets before dousing himself in an accelerant and setting himself on fire was taken to the hospital where he later died. The incident tested how quickly the networks could react and how they decided what would be too disturbing for their viewers to see. Now, I have seen the video of this. And it's pretty disturbing. You know, it's disturbing to see like what a human body does in like the final throes, right? And this has got to be a terrible way to go. I mean, well, you think about it, they're all probably terrible ways to go, but this is probably just God, man. With narration from Laura Coates, CNN had the most extensive view of the scene. Coates, who at first incorrectly said it was a shooting situation, I saw that video, yes, she did, then narrated as the man was visible on screen, enveloped in flames. You can smell burning flesh, Coates, an anchor and CNN's chief legal analyst, said as she stood at the scene with reporter Evan Perez. The camera switched back and forth between Coates and what was happening in the park. 5 minutes after the incident started, CNN posted the on-screen message warning graphic content. Coates later said she couldn't overstate the emotional response of watching a human being engulfed in flames and to watch his body being lifted into a gurney. On a gurney, being lifted into an ambulance. You're not lifted into a gurney. You are placed on a gurney and then lifted into an ambulance. She described it as an emotional and unbelievably disturbing moment here. Excuse me. Yeah. And she called it. She narrated the whole thing like she was Jim Nantz calling a football game on CBS. Like she was just going play by play. And she actually okay. There's like a fine line here. She actually did a really good job of just going play by play, like actually reporting what was happening moment by moment. She actually did a good job. Again, I can't show it because it shows this dude on fire and it's fucked up. But she actually did a good job with that. Now, I understand why, I don't know. It's a different discussion, I suppose, if you want to show that stuff on TV or whatnot. I mean, I guess I don't have a problem with it. I mean, it's up to the viewer, right? Excuse me. It's up to the viewer. So I guess I really don't have a problem with it if they want to show it. I mean, I don't want kids to see it right off the bat. I would like their parents to maybe have a discussion with them before they see shit like that. But, oh, God, there it is. Oh, no. Whoa, shit. But I wanted to bring this up because I'm going to have to figure out my screen thing because I can't keep doing this. This guy, he had a manifesto. So we're going to get into that. I really kind of... Here's some people who are recording it. You can see in the background they're trying to put the guy out. Oh, wait, here. You can see they're trying to pat the guy out. You can't really see the guy here, though, so I don't think there's any... I don't think... See there? Okay. I really don't think I can show this. But here is his... I have not read this yet. This is this dude's manifesto. The True History of the World, the Haunted Carnival Edition, We'll know our disinformation campaign is complete when everything the American public believes is false. CIA Director Bill Casey, 1981. Now, that's a real quote. Our only goal, abolish our criminal government and replace it with one that serves all. Oh boy, should we get into this? Let me do something real quick. Let me adjust this real quick, just so. There we go. I'm very sorry about this, guys. I'm very sorry about this. I just want to make sure. That should look pretty good. Well, I don't know about good, but better. This is annoying, isn't it? Sure fucking is. All right. Let's read a little bit about this, okay? Our story starts with fascism, which is the government of con artists and thieves. Don't take my word for it. Here are Hitler's own words. The size of a lie is a definite factor in causing it to be believed, because the vast masses of a nation are more easily deceived when they are consciously and intentionally bad. Let's read that again. Because the vast masses of a nation are more easily deceived when they are consciously and intentionally bad. So it seems that quote seems to be implying that if people don't try to be good, right, that you're easier to control. And I think there's a lot to that. Now, being a good person takes a lot of work, takes thought, right? It's like you don't just wake up and you're like, oh, I'm just automatically a good person and everyone will like me because I'm good. Well, that depends on your actions. It depends on how you treat people, right? You've got to put in some effort. And when you're in the process of putting in that effort to be good and treat people with respect and do the right thing, now you're not always going to succeed, and people are forgiven for that. But if you're actually putting in the effort, if you're actually consciously thinking about being good, when the government tries to instill some fear in you, when the government tries to instill, division, to insert division between people, well, you're not. You see that as bad. You're thinking, well, no, I have to get along with people, right? I have to treat people with respect. I'm not going to go along with this. I'm going to actively try to be a good person. I am not going to focus on differences. I'm going to focus on similarities, right? What's a common ground we can find? Even if the common ground is agreeing that we have no common ground. As long as, I respect your yard, you respect my yard, fine, good. That's it. But there's a lot to that, right? When your morals and your values are upended, you're easier to control. It's that seems correct. They would never credit others with the possibility of such great impudence as the complete reversal of facts. Such great impudence as the complete reversal of facts. Seems to ring true 100 years later, doesn't it? Funny that. It's a totalitarian lie, and fascist leaders knew it. They used propaganda to shout lies so loudly over and over again that the masses believe them. They are your enemy, which is why you must give us all the power, the fascist lies. Look at how rotten and violent your neighbors have become. We need a strong dictator to make things right, says the power-hungry fascist. The enemy of a fascist state isn't just the most oppressed groups, it's the entire public. They are sold the lies that democracy must be overruled. They must embrace the fascist violence and total control for their own good. The leaders steal the public's lives and livelihoods, their meaning and purpose, as they shout lies in all directions. So, lie to the people, sow division, get them thinking bad and doing bad so that they are afraid of one another, and then step in and say, you need the government to fix this. Old tactic, problem solution, right? Cause a problem, present a solution. People will give over their liberty for a little bit of security, even just a false sense of security, right? It's like, well, if I give over a little bit of my freedom, that crazy neighbor won't bother me anymore. This just happened in Scotland. Scotland has the new free speech law, or the hate speech law, I should say. Free speech, air quotes. Hate speech law. And there was a story, and I think Count Dankula was the one who reported on this. There was a 72, 73-year-old woman. They call them pensioners over in Britannia. She was taken down to the police station because her neighbor made some complaint on the hate speech hotline, and turns out later it was found out to be frivolous. It was completely frivolous and false. Right? They created an environment over in Scotland where people have become so emotionally and mentally upended, just bothered, right? Everyone's emotions and psychological health is very poor right now. And when it's very poor, you are more easily controlled. And just like all of this is saying in this manifesto, things that governments have done for thousands of years, in Scotland, they have convinced people to be afraid of their neighbors and to give authority over to the government to do something about it. They have done more than even Hitler did, right? Because now they have convinced people that it's okay to arrest their neighbor for naughty words, to protect people from bad words, and you will be arrested for it. A fascist state, then, is a totalitarian cult. They flip morality on its head, control the flow of information, and tell the public they have no choice but to submit to their charismatic leaders who are bleeding them dry. There were many, many con artists and thieves who quite liked fascism because it made them ungodly rich. They were the industrialists who profited off of the war machines, the media empires who used propaganda for theft, and as the quote on the cover suggests, the Central Intelligence Agency. Okay, I'm not going to go into this whole thing, but there it is. There's a little taste. Boy, that was a hell of a half hour of rambling to open up this episode. But this is the first live stream I've done since last Sunday, and I have been doing the Wednesday and Friday morning, but I couldn't because I needed to work. Oh, crap. I needed to work on my Civil War review. And I got it out, and it's actually doing quite well. For by my standards, I should say. It's doing quite well. Let's see. It has about 628 views right now, which for me is good. For me, I'm a very small channel. So I'm happy with that. And I did it a little different. It's only about a 10 and a half minute review. And boy, has it pissed some people off. It has pissed some people off. It started some interesting conversation. Here's what I'll say. I'll give you a quick rundown of my review for Civil War. I don't think it's a terrible movie. I don't think it's terrible at all. It's a little below average. I gave it a 4 out of 10. It's a little below average. There's some very good things about the movie. The action sequences are very well done. The cinematography is very well done. The sound is very well done. The sound design, the music's good. There's some odd music choices here or there that, I don't know, it's trying to be a little like cute and artsy with it, but it's okay. The sound design though is really good. The explosions, the bullets and everything, that's very, and it looks great. It just looks so good. The thing is, there's really no story to be invested in. There's really nothing, just for me personally, that I can invest in, right? There's no journey to be connected to. The basic story, the basic plot is there's a civil war in America, and the Western forces are closing in on Washington, D.C., and they're going to capture the president, the third-term president. And before this happens, our characters want to make it down to Washington so they can get one final interview with the president. Okay? And we don't learn anything about the characters. Like, no backstory. We don't know what year it is. We don't know who started the war, why it started. We don't know what any of the factions believe, what they're supporting, what they're fighting for. Now, again, and I've said this in my review, there is something to be said for a conversation, an open-ended conversation about war, right? Some people think it's truly noble and just. I think most people probably think it's terrible and awful, and I am one of those people. But the only thing this movie's really saying, in my opinion, is journalism good, war bad. Journalism good, war bad. And I think that people were expecting, I don't know if people just like the open interpretation of it where they can just say, no, because I've had people say, like, no, you don't understand. You don't understand. This movie is about what? And then they just say it's about the journalists. And I said, yeah, I know. It's about journalism. It's about saying journalism is good and that we need it and the impact that it has on human beings through the journalist eye, or lens, I should say, right? It shows how some of them are changed by war. But just other than from just like a human standpoint, I don't have any real reason to care what happens to the characters because I don't know anything about them. And of course, the argument will be, oh, well, so you're just a sick psychopath that doesn't care if people die. Well, it's a movie. I don't know anything about them. I know it's supposed to be entertainment. It's just not that entertaining. Why? My question is, why should I care? There are movies that did it better, right? Like Apocalypse Now. They get you more invested, a little more depth. Now, I've had some interesting conversations about this regarding my review, and I've had a good conversation and a bad one. I actually had someone who I think swayed me a little bit to their side. And I also have someone, one thing that I've discovered is that I think people went into this movie with a lot of their bias, expecting a lot on their side or the other side and expecting something different to come out of this movie. I know I was expecting something different to come out of this movie just based off of the track record of modern Hollywood and all of the division and all of the bullshit we see today in the media and the news and Hollywood and everything else going on. I think it was pretty safe to assume that this was just going to be some kind of, I don't know, woke message, right? But it wasn't. And I was very happy about that. I just wish there was more of a story. Because I just have no reason to care about it. It's not a terrible movie. It's just kind of dumb. And that's just my opinion. And I had one person say, well, because I had stated in my interview that I would have preferred, just from an entertainment standpoint, I would have preferred that they just made an all-out action movie because the action sequences and cinematography are great. Like, do that. Do that for like 90 minutes. And you can still have a story in it. You can still connect with the characters if you give them some depth. They just didn't give them any depth. You could do an action movie and still have it be very serious. Or you could have it be silly if you want, or somewhere in between. There's no rule that says you can't do that with an action movie. But part of what I said in my review in this regard was I wish they would have just made an action movie. It would have been more entertaining. And I wish Alex Garland would have I wish he would have had the balls to just tell us what he wanted to say, because it's so open-ended that it feels like he was kind of intimidated to say this or say that because he didn't want to piss anyone off. I was like, dude, just say what you want to say. Just say whatever. And if this is all he wanted to do, okay, fair enough. But if there's something more here, just get back to the basics of storytelling with beginning, middle, and end, because we've gotten so far away from that. Take me on a journey, right? Say your journey. That's the thing. There's really no journey here. It's just going from here, point A, to point B, point C, doing stuff, seeing stuff. Is it connected? I don't know. It's all part of a war. But just whatever message you're trying to get across, Alex, just say it, right? Just do it. And I thought that was a weakness. And I had one person say, I bet if they would have supported this side or that side, you would have either liked or hated the movie. Based on whatever side you wanted to win, you would have either liked or hated the movie. That's the problem with your review. I said, that's a pretty hefty assumption, considering you're telling me what my review would be on a movie that does not exist, because the movie you're referring to doesn't exist. All I can do is give you my opinion on the movie that does exist. And for you must know more about my leanings than I do. You must know a hell of a lot more about me than I understand. Oh, well. I don't know. It's a little below average movie. Another person I was having a conversation with, though, they may have convinced me to watch the movie again. They may have convinced me. Now, not in theaters. I'm not going to go back to the theaters and watch it, but I may watch it again if it comes out on streaming. When it comes out, rather. When. I mean, it'll probably be like another 2 weeks. So I may watch it again, because maybe I did miss something, right? Maybe I did miss out on the message. That is 100% possible. Shaking my desk. And you know what? I was very happy to have that conversation. That's a big reason why I started this channel, is so I could have conversations with people, because that's the only way we're going to get ourselves out of this mess. By having open conversations, open dialogue, opening our minds to potentially be changed. Because as much as we all would like to say we know everything, we don't. We never have. We never will. If we start thinking that we know everything, we're going to end up like, not that guy. We're not going to set ourselves on fire. Don't do that. We're going to end up like these clowns, right? If we think we know everything, this is where that leads. I don't know everything. I'm just giving you my opinion. I'm not an expert on anything. Nothing. I am an expert on nothing. I am a douchebag sitting in his spare bedroom with an internet connection and a decent microphone. That's it. That's it. Let's have a conversation. Right? And maybe we grow. We learn more about ourselves. We learn more about our world. We grow. We expand our minds. Go all Timothy Leary, expand your mind, man. That's what I'm here for. If I could get one thing, just one, out of doing this, it would be that. It would be getting people to open up and talk to one another. It does not mean you agree on everything, right? Let's set our emotions aside, because not everyone is coming at you, right? People feel passionately about things, and they're going to, I don't know, maybe they go a little bit hard. Maybe they get a little bit harsh in their comments. Don't get emotional about it. It's not a personal attack. They're just passionate about what they're saying, about what they believe. So, read what they wrote, listen to what they say, and you don't have to. One thing that I've found is that, and I've done this myself personally, is everyone wants to be quick on the response because we want to be witty, We want to have a quip to come right back at you. We don't need to do that. Listen to someone, read what they wrote, sit back for a moment, take a moment, right? And think about it. And think about what it is you want to say. Be logical about it. Don't have an emotional response. You don't have to. You've been tricked into doing that. Sit, think about what you want to say it, and hopefully they'll do the same. Maybe they'll listen to it, hopefully, and form a logical response. And then you go back and forth, and you learn more about yourselves and each other and the world. And that's the only way we're going to get out of this mess. I'm sorry, I keep rubbing my eyes. I know I do. Like they're really dry this morning or something. Excuse me. So, if that's one thing that I can get out of this channel, good. Can't please everyone. Shouldn't try. God, I keep scrolling up to this guy on fire. Kind of want to show it. Nah, I don't. You don't want to see that. Okay, so can't please them all, can you? And you shouldn't try. All right. Moving on. I've just been rambling for like 45 minutes. This is a fucking nightmare. Oh, let's see. So there's that guy. Okay, let's get into some entertainment news, right? That's why you're probably here. Or if you're here, you're probably going, how did I get here? Why am I listening to this guy? I'm probably going to click out. Don't click out. I'm lonely. Nah, it's all right. So let's get into the entertainment. So you've probably heard this. This is Bounding Into Comics. Spencer Bakuli. This was written April 15th, 2024. This is Bounding Into Comics. And I'm sure you've probably seen this. Games Workshop makes insulting retcon to Warhammer 40k lore, claims that the all-male Adeptus Cadre faction has always featured female members. They hate you. They hate you. Sorry. In a development that can only be described as massively insulting to the intelligence of their player base, Warhammer 40k developer Games Workshop has taken to claiming that, despite years of official canonical evidence to the contrary, the game's all-male Adeptus Custodes faction has always included female members amongst its ranks. I gotta say, Warhammer art is pretty great. I'm not into Warhammer. I don't know. I just never dove into it. But man, the aesthetic. Oh, the aesthetic of Warhammer is great. Let's see. This retcon to the franchise's long-standing lore was first revealed to the public on April 13th, courtesy of YouTuber Ash Barker's preview of the upcoming 10th edition of Warhammer 40k guidebook, Codex Adeptus Custodes. Therein, eagle-eye viewers noticed that in the book's introduction of the actual Adeptus Custodes and their lore, Games Workshop had specifically chosen to highlight a battlefield story concerning a female custodian by the name of Calades Taravelia Kesh. Excuse me. Custodian Calades Taravelia Kesh stood upon the bridge of a Cobra-class destroyer, begins a paragraph within a section sub-headlined The Solar Fastnest. Named Vigilant Flame, the warship belonged to the mighty Battlefleet Solar. She lingered, I think is what they meant to write there. She lingered in the shadows at the back of the bridge, positioned at a spot where she could observe the actions of every crew member, be they in the instrumentation pits, at the armament shrines, or, in the case of Shipmaster Lethwick, stood ramrod straight before his command throne. As noted above, prior to the publication of the Codex Adeptus Custodes, the concept of a female custodian did not exist. And Warhammer's been around for, 30 years? 35, 40? I don't think 40, maybe 30. A legion of 10,000 elite, genetically modified warriors who serve as the personal guard to the ruler of the Imperium of Man, the God Emperor of Mankind, as explained in their initial introduction in 2017's Codex Space Marines, 8th edition. All members of the Adeptus Custodes begin their lives as the infant sons of the noble houses of Terra. So, let's read a little bit more. Hold on. A little bit more. Elaborating on this brief bit of lore, 3 years later in the guidebook's 9th edition printing, Games Workshop additionally detailed potential custodians are taken in at a very young age to better survive, no older than late infancy, and it is a great honor for those of Terran noble houses to submit a son. Further, when asked point blank by a fan in 2019 whether Custodes can be female, longtime series lore contributor Aaron Dembski-Bowden, even despite his own openness to the idea, admitted that the God Emperor's elite had canonically always been presented as male. At the time of working on the lore, there was no reason they couldn't be male or female, and as far as things still stand, there's still no lore reason that can't be, explained the Horus Heresy novelist in a comment posted to the 40k lore subreddit. But there is a non-lore reason, which was the previous IP overlord. Dembski-Bowden did not specify the respective entity or individual, saying, "There are no female custodian models, they're all male, so don't write any female ones." And personally, while we're at it, no, I don't think women should be in the military. No, I don't think women should be in the police. No, not at all. There's quite a few reasons why. There was also a studio mandate a couple of years after that saying, "Don't do female custodians," he continued. Again, that seemed to tie in with the release of an all-male mini-line, two very rare moments of direction from on high. I don't want to argue about what that may or may not mean, since although I'm ambivalent to the notion of female space marines, really they'd make such little difference at the end result, I couldn't care less what gender they start out as. Several creators actively thought female custodians would have been cool, and there was no lore against it, Dembski-Bowden continued. Hell, we were in the position to make more lore for it. But long story short, no, the answer seems to be there aren't any, though the reasons aren't in universe yet. Following the revelation that the Codex Adeptus Custodes would be running aground of the franchise's established lore, in response to an April 13th post made to the official Warhammer Twitter account announcing that the guidebook was now available for pre-order, site user, 721252, directly inquired with Games Workshop, "Why did you make female Custodes?" In turn, blatantly lying to the fan's face, the official account then shot back, "Since the first of the 10,000 were created, there have always been female custodians." As of writing, the Codex Adeptus Custodes is set to officially stomp all over the series lore on April 27th. Wow. And yeah, someone in the comments is saying, if there's anyone wondering why Games Workshop went this route, check their major shareholders. It always comes back to them. It's always the source of the virus. You guessed it. It's BlackRock and Vanguard. BlackRock and Vanguard. You guessed it. And now, because of this, at thatparkplace.com reports, numerous Warhammer players cancel their subscriptions and announce a boycott of Games Workshop after announcement of female Adeptus Custodes. Couldn't have seen that coming, excuse me. I mean, someone made a point, I think it was Az on Friday Night Tights maybe, made a good point that, son of a bitch, Warhammer is a pretty expensive hobby to get into, and you can spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a pretty small collection of this stuff. Like, if you want to build a big army, you are definitely going to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, right? If you really get into it. So one big thing that has come around is 3D printing. So what a lot of people have said they're going to start doing is they're going to start 3D printing all of their models, all of their Warhammer figurines and toys, so they don't give money to Games Workshop. How are they going to stop them? They can't. They literally cannot without, like, shutting down the internet. Why do this? Why do this? Numerous Warhammer players are canceling their subscriptions and announcing a boycott of Games Workshop after the company retconned their Adeptus Custodes faction to add females. It's a good-looking book. It's a good-looking aesthetic, man. Excerpts from the upcoming 10th edition of Codex Adeptus Custodes revealed that Games Workshop was adding females to the all-male faction. Let's see, we read that on the previous article, and we read that on the previous article. Games Workshop confirmed the retcon, but then chose to gaslight its own fans and players by claiming there have always been female custodes. I mean, they really hate you. They don't care. They think you're stupid. They don't care. They just openly will spit in your face and say, no, you're wrong. No, this has always been that way. I don't know what you're talking about. Jesus. Following this retcon and the subsequent gaslighting from Games Workshop, numerous hobbyists, enthusiasts, and former customers have canceled their subscriptions to Game Workshop's subscription service, Warhammer Plus, and have pledged to boycott the company going forward. On April 14th, ex-user Grimdark1 shared a screenshot of him canceling his subscription. He wrote, "Kiss my ass, Games Workshop. Not another penny. Not another dime." He explained why he canceled and why he's boycotting in a subsequent post. For those asking, what happened? Excuse me. Games Workshop disrespected their lore by changing decades-old lore of the Custodes, only taking males from the highborn families of Terra to become Custodes of, nah, women can be Custodes now too. And they've totally always been a thing since the beginning, even though they've never been mentioned in any codex or BL book before. We totally aren't doing this for ESG money from BlackRock and Vanguard. And that's it. That's it. BlackRock and Vanguard, right? All of these companies, you wonder, why would these companies keep doing this if they're going to lose customers and lose money and potentially go out of business and people are going to lose their jobs? We look at the games industry, right? Look at Hollywood and the games industry. Hollywood just had a strike. People lost their jobs. The game industry is losing jobs left and right. Every single day, it seems. And studios are shutting down because no one wants to buy this crap. So you think, well, why would they keep doing it? Why would they keep doing this? Well, It's because BlackRock and Vanguard say as long as you meet your diversity quota, you'll get the money. And what they do is they promise the executives of these companies the money that BlackRock and Vanguard give to these companies come with performance incentives. They come with performance incentives for the executives, for management. And they are encouraged to meet certain diversity quotas with money, right? You get a $500,000 bonus if you make 50% of your workforce black or female or gay or whatever the fuck. You'll get a bonus. Now, you'll eventually have to lay some people off, but this is a process. This is a long process, right? We've got to force behaviors, in the words of Larry Fink. Let me see, what's this? Okay, there's a big thread on Twitter here about what's going on with Warhammer and what might potentially be going on with the Warhammer show. Oh, damn, this keeps going too. Let's finish this. Another user, Velrenar, responded to Grimdark1 informing he was boycotting Games Workshop as well. He wrote, "Right there with you. I don't think I'll be buying anything else from Games Workshop, and I'm not even sure if I want to keep anything anymore. Keep anything." Others announced they also canceled their Warhammer Plus subscriptions. Econ Adept wrote on X, "I canceled mine too. I'm married with kids." He also shared a screenshot of him explaining why he canceled his subscription. "You betrayed the lore and the fans. I will no longer spend money with your company. I will advocate others to do the same. You better hope the woke mob supports you because I will not." That's another great point. The people who wanted this don't give a flying fuck about Warhammer. They don't care about the lore or canon or characters or story. They don't care about the entertainment. They don't care about the fun. They don't care about the hobby. They don't care what it means to the individual. They don't care what it means to the nerds who have loved it for decades. They don't care. They do not care. They only care about using this as a vehicle for their message. They aren't going to buy this stuff. This reminds me of Elizabeth Banks in the Charlie's Angels movies when she said, "This movie's not for men. Go fuck yourself, men." And then nobody showed up because men are the vast majority of moviegoers, who buy the tickets. And so the movie bombed. And so she said, "Why didn't men come see this movie?" So the activism invades, forces all of these changes that nobody asked for. Nobody. Let's explore that for a second. Because we know that they're bowing down, they're bending the knee to this 1% of people who are losing their minds on social media. But why is BlackRock why are they doing these things? They're losing billions of dollars. Why keep doing it? If it's not about money, it's clearly not about money because they're losing money. And BlackRock has access to trillions of dollars for investment. So they don't have to think about money. It's not about money. BlackRock is a wealth management firm or fund or whatever the fuck they call themselves. And their job, they got so big by promising their clients that they would take their money, invest it, and make them oodles and oodles of money. And they've done that. For the most part, they've done that. But this is losing oodles and oodles of money. So why do this? Like, what's the end game here? Seriously, what's the end game? Because nobody can tell me or prove to me why diversity is so important in business. What proof do you have that it will improve profit or efficiency or safety in the workplace? What proof do you have? None. And if you ask for proof, you're just called a bigot. Well, I want proof. You can call me whatever the fuck you want. I want proof. Oh, you don't have any. Oh, okay. And that's why they don't want you asking questions about it, because they know the truth. They know that they don't have any reality that supports their argument. So why are they doing it? You know the answer. You know what I'm going to say. Marxism. Useful idiots. Marxism. The elite in Marxism use the little people, the proletariat, to get their way, right? You are only a tool. You are a means to an end. You're just a number. Why are they doing this, right? That's what I want to know. So let's finish this. Canceled mine too. Marty GH also shared, I canceled mine too. I'm married with 4 kids. One is gay, another is trans. I'm not against female custodes, even though they've been the emperor's favorite sons for years. I'm against the gaslighting from Games Workshop. A good lore-based explanation would have minimized this. So this person, who was even open to it, is just pissed off that Games Workshop lied. Spit in their face. Randy AGLL1 also shared, I have canceled mine and sending an email that I want a refund. If they decline, I will dispute it with the bank and have it charged back. I am not renewing my White Dwarf subscription, and I was planning to do the new Imperium subscription, Combat Patrol. Not now. And then so on and so forth. And there's a bunch more. A bunch more. What's this? Hold on a second. So it looks like people are seriously saying, fuck off, Games Workshop. This boycott of Games Workshop and Warhammer, due to its obvious embrace of feminist ideology, can only be seen as a good thing because it means less people will be subjected to future propaganda that Games Workshop will inject into its games, books, and TV shows. Well, that's not a bad point. It also means the demoralization that comes along with this propaganda will be blunted. This demoralization was noted by former KGB agent Yuri Bezmenov, yes, and who warned about it back in the 1980s. If you haven't seen that video, go watch it. I think it's still on YouTube. Last time I checked. Ex-KGB agent Yuri Bezmenov in 1986, I think it was 86, 87, did a video when he was over here in the United States and breaks down how communism works, how it takes control, what it does, how it affects people, just the whole shebang. Watch it. Yuri Bezmenov. Watch it. It's correct. Let's see. He shared that this demoralization campaign employed psychological warfare techniques to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite an abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interest of defending themselves, their family, their community, and their country. They want you so confused that you just lose your mind and eventually beg them for help. That's exactly what they're doing. He elaborated, it's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy exposed to the ideology of the enemy, in other words, Marxism. Leninism ideology is pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. That's why they're coming after the heroes. Because they don't want you to have anything to believe in. They don't want you to have anything. They don't want you to have faith in one single thing. It's why they attack religion. It's why they attack entertainment, because we look to our heroes in entertainment, right? It's why they attack people like Aragorn, and it's why they come after the stories of good versus evil. Star Wars is a story of good versus evil. What do the Marxist Disney company do? They say this isn't about good or bad. This is about power. They don't want to give you anything to believe in. So eventually you become so upset emotionally and mentally, spiritually even, that you beg for someone to do something about it. And when everyone around you, in your community, in your state, when all other people have been stripped of their rights and their liberties and their abilities to do anything about it, well, who do you turn to then? That's right. You turn to Big Daddy Government. Please make me comfortable. Here, I will sacrifice my liberty as long as you make me comfortable. I'll eat the bugs. I'll live in the pod. I'll take the pills. But please just make it stop. Make the madness stop. I know how we end the madness. We get rid of government. I'm not kidding. But anyway, no, I'm not kidding. I seriously don't think we need one single politician. I'm not kidding any way, shape, or form. They don't do anything. Okay, it is 7:22. I'm going to take a restroom break real quick and come back, and we're going to talk about what this means potentially for the Amazon show. Now, I want to click on a link real quick to see what it said. Say what it sees about Henry Cavill, because Henry Cavill, I'm sure you've heard this too, is working on a Warhammer show for Amazon. Okay, so this was back in January of 24. This is January, so we'll get into it, okay? Let me take a quick restroom break. I'll come right back, and we'll get into this on Twitter. Don't you go nowhere. All right, then. Laddie. What's he doing? Why is he like this? Oh, let's see. Okay. So we're going to jump right back into it, I think. Let's see what we got. So Warhammer. Amazon and Warhammer. I've got 2 caffeinated drinks here. And I can't decide which one I want to finish. Whatever. So, this is I haven't read this yet, but this is a big, long post that just came out a couple days ago about Amazon potentially being the ones who initiated the female custodes. Right? Now, Amazon is a $1 trillion company. Amazon has a great deal of influence. They're a much, 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 much larger company than Games Workshop. And some people have guessed or have theorized that they are the ones who are forcing the females into the custodes of Warhammer. So let's get into it. Now remember, Henry Cavill is working on the Warhammer show. He's a nerd, right? He's a big Warhammer nerd. Let me do something real quick. Hold on a second. You don't need to you don't want to see that much of my face, do you? You know, I need to cover up that Rode thing. I am not sponsored by them or anything, but it's a great mic stand, by the way. So let's get into this. So this is Bart Trick, anchor and owner of Imperial News, and this was on April 18th, I believe. It said, "In You Cannot Be This Dense News, greetings, Imperial citizens. Looks like there is more this Femstodes crap than originally anticipated. Last we checked, thanks to Warhammer's post, they confirmed this unnecessary change that has never been mentioned for the past some odd years. However, there is more to the story. It would seem that this little Femstodes announcement was nothing more than a fucking stunt. According to documents, the records seem to impose that the custodes were supposed to have females as a minor mention. A sweep under the rug, only to be mentioned in the codex and a minor story within it. No major changes, no additions, no models, just a mere mention and forgotten. Why a minor mention? Because apparently the bastards of Amazon have been fucking around. Again. I said this would happen, and I was fucking right. And I hate it. Amazon and Games Workshop have been at each other's throats as of late due to creative issues and differences. Because assumingly, Henry Cavill, Emperor bless his name, is going to be making an Eisenhorn Vox cast show, and one scene involves a female custodes being in the scene, given only a minor role, possibly 1 or 2 lines, and be memory held and forgotten. Okay, memory hold, I think he said. Or whatever. However, in order for this to work and avoid extreme fan backlash, they had wanted to add it to the codex as they did and have it as a minor mention and let this blow over. However, what they did not anticipate was the social media employees that run the X account have decided to pour literal volatile orc benzene into what could have been a small-ass fire by commenting a gaslighting statement. There's going to be layoffs, people, and you can bet your ass they will be the first to go, and Games Workshop are pissed. Safety assuming, of course. What's worse in all this meeting was to appease Amazon into letting them be run on their platform. However, because of this fuckery, and it goes against the lore, no matter how much you retcon it, it's absolute bullshit. Just enough fuckery that Henry Cavill may, emphasis on the word may, leave the show out of disgust by how Amazon are fucking it all up. Is Games Workshop innocent in this? We can't say, but considering they released the codex with that just so they can allow Amazon to continue with the show with that minor tidbit of added retconning, they're just as at fault. Yes. In any case, we can put 85% of the blame on Amazon. Fucking bastards. They ruined the Silmarillion. What makes anyone think they won't attempt to ruin Warhammer 40K? They will. They will. Anyway, this is Imperial News. Wait. Where's Tom and Squeaks? Go to our Amazon headquarters. Yes, we know. Look, we got the money to sue. Nothing is going to happen to us. Yeah. Let them vent. Those geeks will just bitch and complain, but they'll consume content. They always do. What is this? Okay, so he goes into a little bit of acting there, which is fine. Amazon's an incredibly woke company. This is not surprising. So Amazon basically, Amazon has insane DEI standards. Let me see if I can find it. Because I did a report on the, well, I talked about it. I didn't do like a report on it. I talked about it on this stupid fucking show. Let's see, Amazon DEI. Because they came out with a chart, or it was leaked. It was leaked to, I believe it was Film Threat. And because Amazon and Disney had this massive, this enormous list of DEI requirements. And now I can't find it. Hold on. Amazon DEI requirement chart. That ain't it. It was pretty extensive. It was pretty fucked up. You know, you have to have so many employees, like 50% this, 50% that, and they have to get, every 2 to 3 years, they have to get a promotion. And you can't have certain people talking to other people, and certain, if you make a script, you got to have a black person review it, you got to have a gay person review it, you got to do all of these wild things that basically hamstring creativity. So this isn't surprising that Amazon is doing this at all. But because of their insane DEI requirements, they went to Games Workshop and said, you need to help us out, because if we do this and it's not in the lore, people are going to stop watching. Just like they did with Rings of Power. So think about that, right? Think about that. Rather than make something true to the lore, they know that's what happened. Sorry, opening the window, it's getting stuffy in here. They know that's what happened with Rings of Power. They know it. They'll never admit it, but they know it. So they see it coming up for the Warhammer show, and they're like, no, we got to do something. Rather than actually stay lore accurate, though, rather than just let Henry Cavill just make a show, they need to stick to their DEI guns. They have to, right? I'm sure they've got a contract with BlackRock, too. Vanguard, BlackRock, all the other ones. Think about that. They know what the problem is. And rather than fix the problem, they lean into it and try to hide it. That's nefarious. Again, why? Why are they doing this? That's the question. Forget the money. Forget the ratings, forget all of this crap, right? Because we all know it's not because of that, because if it were, they would have changed course by now. So what's it about? You know the answer. I've already said the answer. It's about power. Don't think about good or evil. Think about power, right? And what Marxism does is it convinces the proletariat, the people, the unwashed masses, that management and the employers have too much power. They want you obsessed with power and who you need to take it from, right? Because it's not fair that they have a bunch of power. But the government's telling you to do this. And the biggest of the big corporations are telling you to do this. Disney is telling you to do this. Amazon is telling you to do this. Nike is telling you to do this. BlackRock and Vanguard are telling you to do this. The government is telling you to do this. All of their corporate associates and owners are telling you to do this. And that yet you want us to believe that you're like some grassroots revolutionary. Jesus Christ. Why? Let's see what this is. Female custodes are only going to be mentioned in the codex. No new sculpture. Okay, so this is just proof on some kind of, or this is just the documentation of it. Okay. If this is remotely true, they deserve it for selling their soul to Amazon. 3D printers are at the cusp of becoming the norm for hobbyists. Yes, they are. And another point that I think Az made on Friday Night Tights was he said, look, these are people who have spent thousands of dollars. These hobbyists have spent thousands of dollars on these figurines and everything Warhammer. So they'll be more than willing, if they can afford it, they will be more than willing to buy a 3D printer and supplies and not ever give you another dime. They will. They're going to. All right. So it looks like Amazon is going to destroy the Warhammer show before it even releases. Okay. Just like Netflix killed The Witcher. Another Henry Cavill show that I'll admit, I watched the first 2 seasons. I don't even remember a lot of the second season. I thought the first season was okay. It was good enough and weird enough because I didn't play the game. I didn't read the books, but it was good enough. It was weird enough to keep me interested. It's like, yeah, I'll watch the second season, and I don't even remember anything about the second season. But the first season was good enough. It had some good scenes, good action, looked good. Henry Cavill's good. We like Henry Cavill. But Warhammer is going to go the way of Netflix's The Witcher. And I got to say, man, either Henry Cavill is the most unlucky bastard in the history of Hollywood, or he has the worst agent in the history of Hollywood, or they see a straight white male that everyone adores, and they can't have that. Nope. They think about it. They don't want a straight white male being the most popular dude. No, absolutely not. You know, I want a straight white male to be the most popular dude just because it would just ruin their day. Like, they would be out of their minds. They could not stand it. And it's just funny because they flip out. This is the West Observer, April 19th, 2024. It's a 3-minute read, according to them. Netflix has announced that the upcoming 5th season of The Witcher will be the final season of the show. Filming for the 4th season has already begun in the United Kingdom with a major change in the lead role. Henry Cavill, who played Geralt of Rivia, has been replaced by Liam Hemsworth. The new season is set to wrap up the storylines from author Andrzej Sapkowski's remaining 3 books, Baptism of Fire, The Tower of the Swallow, and The Lady of the Lake. And I think this was originally scheduled for 7 seasons. The show creator and showrunner Lauren Schmidt-Hissrich, expressed her excitement for the upcoming season, stating that the show will bring the epic conclusion of Sapkowski's books to the screen. The new season will push the characters to their limits and promises a satisfying conclusion to the series. The cast, including Liam Hemsworth, is seen having a good time during the table read, sparking curiosity among fans about what the final season has in store. I've never heard of this outlet before, the West Observer. Are they? I don't know who they, it doesn't matter. He's having a good time during the table read. Despite the anticipation for the upcoming seasons, really, there are concerns about the show's quality following criticism of previous seasons. Season 3 received mixed reviews due to the issues with writing and production values. There is hope that seasons 4 and 5 will address some of these criticisms and deliver a more faithful adaptation of the source material, even with a change in the lead actor. The addition of new cast members, including Lawrence Fishburne, maybe I did hear that, adds to the excitement for the upcoming seasons. Boy, I bet they had to pay him an arm and a leg. I hope he gets paid $50 million for this. Okay. The departure of Henry Cavill from the series has raised questions about the future of The Witcher. Cavill's dedication to the role and his knowledge of the source material were commendable, and his absence may impact the show's quality. There are concerns that the lack of passion and respect for the original works among writers and producers could affect the storytelling in the upcoming seasons. It remains to be seen how the show will adapt to the changes and if it can regain the trust of fans. Remember, Lauren, what's-her-face, Hissrich, Lauren Schmidt Hissrich. God, no thank you. Remember, she said that they don't care about the lore, right? There was that quote that said they actually laughed it off. They thought it was stupid. They didn't care about it. So why are you in this position? While there is uncertainty surrounding the future of The Witcher, fans are hopeful that Seasons 4 and 5 will address the issues of past seasons and provide a satisfying conclusion to the series. The recasting of Geralt of Rivia, while disappointing, may present an opportunity for the show to refresh its storytelling and bring new life to the characters. I doubt it. Viewers are eager to see how the new seasons will unfold and whether they will live up to the expectations set by the earlier seasons of the show. As production continues on The Witcher Season 4, fans are encouraged to keep an open mind and see how the new cast's storyline develops. So okay, I wonder if they are shilling a little bit, because remember, I think it was Lauren Hissrich who came out on, I believe, Twitter and practically begged fans to come back to the show for Season 3, I think it was, because the ratings just went off a fucking cliff. And I'm pretty sure she made a statement on Twitter. She was like, please give us another chance. Please. Isn't that like these people, right? Especially woke liberal white women. They spit in everyone's face. They run around telling everyone how to live their lives, telling everyone that they know better, going around being some Karens, asking to talk to the managers about everything. Sometimes putting hands on people because they think there will be no consequences. And when there's consequences, they're shocked. They are shocked. They can't fathom the possibility that someone might stand up to them or talk back. Or if they put hands on someone, maybe they get hands put on them. They can't fathom it. And it's just like Lauren Hissrich here. She spit in everyone's face. She laughed about the story, insulted the fans. And then when the fans said, fuck you, she went, oh, wait, we have more story to tell. You need to keep watching. You do shit. The show's creators have the chance to learn from past mistakes and deliver a more engaging and faithful adaptations of Sapkowski's work. The show's creators have a chance to learn from past mistakes. They will never admit. They'll never admit. Because if any of them admit their mistakes, it's like an admission that their entire ideology is wrong, right? Because everything they're doing is in support of their ideology. Everything they do is in support of that. So if they admit that it was wrong, like if they made a mistake and said, no, we need to go back to the source material, they are admitting that everything that they believe is wrong, and they will never, ever, 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 ever do that. Ever. They cannot go against the message. Can't do it. Or they'll be kicked out of the club. Can't do it. Not only that, I don't think they're smart enough to do it. I don't think they're talented enough to do it. I would love to see what they do if they genuinely stayed true to the lore. It would be better than what they're doing now, but would it be good? Remember, they did The Witcher Blood Origin, was it called? I watched one episode of that. One of the worst things I've ever seen. Witcher Blood Origins was what they would do with no governor, right? With no restrictions. That's the Witcher show they wanted to make. So I owe you an apology. It wouldn't be better. We know it's worse. We know it's infinitely worse. When they are left to their own devices with the Witcher lore and they want to make whatever show they want to make, look at Witcher Blood Origins. When they have to kind of stay within 1,000 miles of the lore, The Witcher standard, or The Witcher proper is what we get. So that shows you their talent level. I think it shows you their talent and their effort, and if they have any genuine interest, and by their own admission, they don't. So I'm guessing if this is all true, and, they stick with this, which they will because they can't admit that they're wrong, then Warhammer show is going to go the way of, The Warhammer show is going to go the way of The Witcher. Yep. So Netflix announces it's ending. Right after they announce seasons 4 and 5, they announce it's over. That's that. But look, Liam's having such a good time. See, he's smiling. He's having fun. So the show's going to be good. Maybe. No. So, okay, speaking of new shows and everything, and speaking of new seasons and new announcements, Fallout Season 2, this is on Polygon, by the way, April 18th, 2024, all the Fallout Season 2 news we've heard so far. So I just brought this up to show that Amazon's Fallout TV series has already been renewed for a Season 2, and the reviews of Fallout, I haven't had a chance to watch this yet, but the reviews are all over the place. People either love it or hate it, and there's a little bit of everything in between. Oh, what the fuck is this? Austin Goslin, he, him. Does Polygon really... I don't check out Polygon that much, I guess. So they really do put pronouns in everyone's shit. Okay. Fallout, the new TV adaptation from Prime Video, ends with a bit of a bang. After a few episodes of exploring the wasteland and the world of Fallout outside of the Fallout games, Fallout brings it all home with a lot of updates to the lore and more than a couple cliffhangers. And as of a week after release, Fallout Season 2 is confirmed, with Prime Video tweeting out the news, albeit in fairly limited fashion. Here's everything we know about what a potential second season might bring, and where it might take our cast of characters. So, I've also heard that there's not really a bunch of messaging in this show, which is impressive. Again, considering it's Amazon. And seeing everything else that's going on. But although there's not a lot of messaging in the show, there is discussions about it surrounding the show. And this is Pride Magazine, or Fallout is a wonderfully weird, funny, and bold post-apocalyptic tale. But is it queer? The hard-hitting questions. The questions we're all pondering. Who am I? How did I get here? Why am I here? What is the meaning of all of this? This thin veil of existence. What is this? Is the Fallout TV show gay? How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? The hard-hitting questions. God. Everything, every single thing has to be about them. They are so self-centered. They are so narcissistic. They're such narcissists. Their ego is so out of control. It has to be about them. They cannot put themselves in the shoes of anyone else. You know, walk a mile in my shoes. They used to say that. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in his shoes. See how you feel. People don't care about that. People don't have empathy anymore. People don't want to see the world through the eyes of others, because they just inherently think that other people are bad if they believe anything different. It's like, I don't want to try to understand him. He's a Nazi. Well, how about this? How about you would better be able to destroy your enemy if you better understood your enemy? No, I don't care about that. I just punch Nazis. That's just what I do. Okay. It's got to be about them. They can't see themselves. They can't see themselves as the hero, right? They need to see the hero as them. Did I say that right? Whereas, say like, and it is very much a female thing. Not all females, but males are much more likely to say, I need to be more like Batman. I need to be more like Spider-Man, right? That's encouraging. That's a positive influence. That's a good example to follow. Whereas women are more likely to say, I bet he'd look good in a dress. I wonder if he's queer. I wonder if he can get pregnant. For reasons. So, Fallout is a wonderfully weird, funny, bold post-apocalyptic tale, but is it queer? War never changes, but the world can. That is the central theme in Fallout, among many to be sure, but the most important. There's a seed of hope, of optimism that runs through the games and the new series that arrives on Prime Video today. Yes, it's a dystopian tale where zombies, mutants, thieves, and chicken fornicators roam the wasteland. But it's also a story of human perseverance, rebuilding, and reshaping the future. But most of all, it's also the most fun you'll ever have in the apocalypse. Fallout comes from executive producer Jonah Nolan, Westworld person of interest, and showrunners Geneva Robertson Dworet, Captain Marvel, Tomb Raider, oh boy, and Graham Wagner, Portlandia, Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley's a great show. And is set in the world of the beloved video game series 200 years after a nuclear war has ravaged America, and presumably the world. A lucky, well, relatively lucky, few survived the war, locked away in a massive underground communities called vaults. Others less fortunate had to scrape out an existence in the irradiated wasteland surrounded by mutated fauna, raider gangs, cannibals, and self-appointed holy knights. The series picks up in one of those vaults where Lucy, Ella Purnell, has lived a charming life until the outside world enters her underground sanctuary, blowing up her utopian existence and stealing her father, Kyle MacLachlan. To get him back, she does the unthinkable. She heads out from the safety of her vault, after which she's quickly educated on the harsh, bizarre, and often gruesome realities of the above-ground world. She also meets a cast of delightfully strange characters, including the Ghoul, a gunslinging bounty hunter, Maximus, a squire of the Brotherhood of Steel, those guys you've seen in the trailer with the cool armor, and Siggy Wilzig, a scientist with a world-altering secret in his head. Literally. The world building and attention to detail that has been put into every frame and moment of the series is astounding. Fans of the games will be delighted at every nod and perfectly recreated prop, but for the uninitiated, it's also just an expertly crafted and immersive new world to get lost in, and believe us, you'll want to, because that world is populated with compelling, charming, and genuinely lovable characters, even though they all do truly terrible things. But as they say, when in the wasteland, do as the wastelanders do. The question is, will gamers who are familiar with the franchise's queer history, that Fallout was one of the very first games that allowed for same-sex romances, find as much to be thrilled about? The answer is yes and no. Textual queerness is only fleetingly on screen, and none of the main characters, at least so far, have explored a queer romance. However, this question has been on the minds of Nolan, Robertson, Dworet, and Wagner. Why does it matter? Who cares? Who cares? It's not like in the Fallout games that being gay was this overarching theme. Right? Because it wasn't. It may have given you the opportunity, the option to have a romance with someone of the same sex, But that doesn't mean it was one of the primary themes of Fallout. Not like anyone would remember, right? When someone's going to watch this show, they're not going to think, well, yeah, but what does their character creation screen look like? Now, they do one thing they do that's cool in the show that I've seen is they do the stats, like the attributes. That's cool, right? They're just trying to keep the aesthetic of it, and that's cool. That's cool. But no one is going to go into this thinking, I wonder if they chose gay or straight. I wonder if they chose this or that. I wonder if they're going to be gay. Like, seriously, what is this? Why do people care so damn much about this crap? No one ever used to talk about this stuff, ever. And now all of a sudden, over the past few years, it's the most pressing issue in the history of civilization. I'll tell you a little story about in high school. There's a young man, there's a gay man, that when I would go to high school, you'd go in the morning, classes would start at, I don't know, I can't remember, 7:45, 8, whatever. But, I'd get there maybe like 7:15, 7:30, and you'd go into the lobby, the front area of the school, and, just see all the other students there, see your friends and everything, have a chat, do whatever, talk about the bullshit of the day. And there was 3 or 4 of us every day. We would go to our same spot. We'd go in the lobby, and we'd go over by the wall, and we had our own little lean-in post by the wall, and we'd sit down against the wall, and we'd just talk. We just chat. And one of those individuals happened to be a gay man. Well, a gay boy, but he was, 15, 16, and he was gay. And he was overtly gay. And, wore makeup and eyeliner and painted his nails and everything. And we never talked about it. He was just gay. I never asked him. He's like, oh, by the way, are you gay? What does that feel like? What are you? How did you do that? Because it doesn't fucking matter. Didn't bother me. I wasn't obsessed with it. He never talked about it. Like, not once. Not one time he was like, oh, by the way, I'm gay. Oh, by the way, you need to recognize my queerness. No, because it didn't fucking matter. You know what mattered? The fact that we could sit down and look at each other and have a respectful conversation. That's what mattered. That's what mattered. That's why we were friends. We weren't like best friends or anything. We didn't go to the mall together or anything like that. We just talked every day. Perfectly nice guy. Never talked about being gay once. So why is this happening? I think queerness, this is a quote, I think queerness embedded into the DNA of the franchise from the beginning, and hopefully the show, Nolan Tells Pride. I think it's one of the things that I found so exciting about the games that I played them. Give me a fucking break. Does anyone believe that? Does anyone believe that, what's his name again, Nolan? Does anyone believe that Christopher Nolan's brother sat down, played the Fallout games, and thought, my God, I can't believe how stunningly queer this is. Oh my God, Slay Queen. Does anyone believe that shit at all? My first experience with the franchise, Fallout 3, that's a really good game, was the fact that the games felt alive, subversive, and satirical, that you had a real sense that there was nothing safe or restrained about these things, that they felt that they had the texture of the world with them. We've endeavored to try to bring all of that feeling, all of that tone with us into the series. So, okay, you're talking about world building, bringing in the tone, the feel of the game. That's great. But you started by saying the DNA, the queerness DNA of the franchise being embedded. I think it's one of the things I found most exciting when I played the game. What's exciting about it? You kind of did a left turn real quick. You said it was the most exciting thing, and then you said, no, we have to build the world. It's subversive and satirical and feels alive. and feels real. Those are all good things. But you said that one of the most exciting things about the games, is the queerness that is embedded into the very DNA, the very fiber of the games. But then you didn't say what was so exciting about it. Like, why is it exciting? Tell me why. Tell me why. I don't believe you. It was also front of mind for Wagner, who said there were discussions on how to incorporate queerness into the show. We talked about a lot of topical stuff in the writer's room, like, where's racism in this world? Where's queerness in the world? Like, what the fuck? So you're actively looking for racism. Thank you for admitting you're a racist. It's like you're overturning every single rock looking for something to be upset about. We talked about a lot of topical stuff in the writer's room, like, where's the racism? You're actively looking for divisive bullshit. You're actively looking to put division into your show. Why? Now, from all accounts, from everything I've heard, there is no such division in the show. But what we've seen a lot with a lot of these programs is they reel you in with a good first season and then go completely off the rails thereafter. And it sounds like that's what they're going to do. They're looking to do it. They're looking for room to inject queerness and racism. You know what? If you wanted to inject a gay character into it, all you have to do is, like, if you want two guys, just show, I don't know, two guys living in a home together. And that's it. You don't have to have a big conversation about it. You know why? Because nobody cares and you're not special. So no one wants to hear your fucking crap about it. No one wants to hear you talk and whine about it. You're not special. Nobody cares. Get over it. You're mediocre like everyone else. This is kind of stunning. Like, not stunning that they're trying to do it, but that they actually said it, right? They're just coming out and saying, yeah, we're going to make racism in this show because we think we need to talk about it. We have to change the world. No one's asking you to change the world. No one's going to watch to see you try and change the world. People just want to see fallout. Jesus. Wagner admits he had concerns about doing the storylines justice. I struggled with it a bit as a straight white dude. Why? Why? We're in this great moment where there is finally money to tell queer stories. It's not my money. Those are stories for queer storytellers to tell. I sometimes feel a little gun-shy about tackling those issues because I know that there is a market for that. It belongs... No, there isn't. What is that, about a 3% market share? There's an incredibly small market for it. And you put it on this big prime show. Again, apparently it's not in the show now, but they're going to do it. They're talking about doing it. They're telling you they're going to do it. I sometimes feel a little gunshot, blah, 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 blah. It belongs to my fellow writers who are more from that demographic and who can do a better job of it than me, but maybe that's a cowardly approach. It is. I'm not sure. It's part of their conversation in the room every day. This is an interesting comment that he's saying, that only belongs to people from that group, that demographic. Only they are qualified to speak on that. Nope. This is where the whole thing comes in, like how you can't criticize other people without being called a bigot or a racist or anything, because it is theorize that because you are not that person, you cannot speak on anything that that person does, even if what they do is completely terrible. Right? If they go out, like if a person from a drag queen story hour goes out and diddles a kid, people get upset that you will criticize that individual and call you a bigot. Say, "Oh, you can't criticize a drag queen." No. You're not an expert on that. You're not a drag queen, so you can't criticize a drag queen. Watch me. You want to be a drag queen? Go be a drag queen. Just not around kids. Because it's a sexual fantasy. That's what they do, right? That's how they try to keep you at bay. You can't talk about this stuff. Even if what they're doing is completely awful and terrible and no good, very bad, you can't criticize it. And he says it right here. I'm a straight white dude. I can't talk about these things. If they want to inject this stuff into the show, I can't criticize it because I'm a straight white guy. If they want to put in a whole bunch of... If they wanted to make a drag queen story hour in the show, like they just wanted to have an episode as drag queen story hour, I can't criticize it. Because I'm a straight white dude. I can't criticize it. I wish they'd do that. Because people would lose their fucking minds. And the show would be a disaster. My eyes are dry. My throat's dry. My nose is dry. Excuse me. I know I'm like itching my eyes and everything so much. I just dry. Excuse me. Oh my God, dude. Oh, it's almost done here. Let's finish it up. For Robertson Dworet, it really came down to wanting to approach the subject correctly. There's so many things that we want to keep exploring that we just didn't have time to do justice to in the first 8 hours of our show, unfortunately, she shares with pride. There's thousands of hours of gameplay in each, and there were so many ideas that we had that we just didn't get to explore. She did, however, reveal that there are queer characters in the show, as well as gender nonconformity, particularly when it comes to the Brotherhood of Steel. But that, sadly, a more overt moment that touched on two characters' relationship was cut. There are bits of it, though, if you look for it. I don't want to give anything away, but in episodes 2 in Philly, there's certainly a hint of it with two of the characters, and we hope to, spoiler alert, return to those characters in a future season if we're lucky enough to get one. So they're just gonna, they're gonna start doing this stuff. They're practically admitted it. That's exactly what they're gonna do. Not only are they going to put, again, there's nothing wrong. Gosh, my nose is so freaking dry. I'm so sorry. There's nothing wrong with having gay people in a show. Nobody cares. You just want us to think it's super duper special. It's not. And you're going to sacrifice creativity and you're going to sacrifice canon and lore for the sake of for modern audiences. The modern audience that does not exist. The real thing in this is where he said, yeah, we're going to look for racism to put in the show. Why? The very nature of racism is divisive. Why would you want to make your show divisive? People are coming to the Fallout show because they want to see Fallout. They don't want to see your commentary on racism. Nobody gives a fuck. Maybe I won't watch this show. Fuck it. But they don't need me because I'm a straight white male. I'm a bigot. They don't need my view. Okay. Fine. If you guys want to hear someone review this in a very humorous manner, go check out Mahler's review of it. I don't think he did a review proper. I think he was just talking about it maybe on like FNT and Open Bar. He tears into this shit, man. And they just did by the way, they just did a Rebel Moon 2 yesterday, I wasn't able to catch all of their EFAP. I haven't watched it yet. I'm watching it today. I was so extremely, terribly busy yesterday. Oh, my gosh. Give me a break. I'm going to go get this dry crap. I don't watch anything more. I just watch YouTube reviews. Hey, what's up, David? How you doing, man? David, give me a moment, man. I've got like just some dry crap on my nose. It's just so dry in this room. I'll be right back. Just give me a second. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. Good morning, David. Good to see you. He said, I don't watch anything more. I just watch YouTube reviews. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people do that now, right? I think a lot of people are not exploring things. I think that there's so many reviews out there now. There's so many different opinions and points of view that a lot of people just go out, like what you're saying, go out to YouTube or Twitter or whatever, and they just kind of cycle through the reviews and kind of get an overall consensus, you know? Now, with some things that doesn't work, but it appears that like with most things that works, right? I have heard all sorts of different things about this show. I may watch it, right? I may watch it just for the aesthetic. But hearing what they're going to do, why would I want to start it if then I watch season 2 and I'm like, well, now it really sucks. It's kind of like rewatching Game of Thrones. You know, you watch the first 4 seasons and you're like, this is so unbelievably good. And then you know how it ends. So it's like, why do I even want to start it? It's so depressing. It's just... Speaking of watching reviews, David, if you haven't had a chance yet, you should go watch that Civil War review and let me know what you think, because it's pissed some people off. My Civil War review, it pissed some people off. Oh, well, I guess. Can't please them all. It's only like 10 minutes long. So it's different than my other reviews. And I think maybe moving forward, it's kind of how I'll do standard newer movie reviews. I could probably fit that in like 10 minutes. But I'm going to watch Rebel Moon 2 today. And I'm going to do a breakdown. Probably like a 45-minute breakdown like I did with Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire, except this is Rebel Moon Part 2, Scargiver. So, great. I couldn't do it yesterday. I was just too busy. I was doing all sorts of crap around the house. I was installing doors, installing blinds, doing stuff in the yard, just all over, which I enjoy doing. So, speaking of Fallout, this is about the same thing. Yeah, people are like, make her gay. It's like, okay. One thing that is one revelation that's come out of this is that Ella Purnell, the lead in Fallout, it seems like she actually did some homework. It seems like she actually did a little bit of research, which is a great thing, which is a wonderful thing. So let's hear her out. Let's hear what she has to say about that.
You know what I was watching the other day? I was watching The Legend of Tarzan. What a fun little movie that is. I'm pretty sure you play like a young Margot Robbie character in that.
I worked on it, yeah. It was kind of like they
2
combined
minutes.
my face and Margot's face to... I was basically a body double that involved a lot of CGI. I really just wanted to work on that production and work with the people that I did. And
I remember seeing that and going, wow, she looks so much like Margot
no,
Robbie.
they've sort of CGI'd it. It's actually pretty crazy if you
Well, it's pretty
if you
cool.
watch it.
It's a cool little movie.
It's
but
great,
the journey
great
from
film.
there to here, you're like leading one of the most anticipated shows.
She's a good-looking woman, but I stopped just because she's an attractive woman, but there's this weird thing going on with a lot of these young women in Hollywood. Like, they're so tiny, and they've got, like, really big eyes. Excuse me. They're just, like, so tiny, and they've got these really big eyes. Like her, Anya Taylor-Joy, the black woman, Halle Berry, is it, that played Ariel in the live-action remake. There's, like, 1 or 2 others. Rachel Zegler. They all have this weird look about them, right? Like maybe they had like a slight bit of fetal alcohol syndrome. I don't want to bash them if they did. What the hell's wrong with this mic arm? I don't want to bash them if they did, but it's all this weird look. What the fuck? Screw it. All right, let's keep watching.
Of the year, with one of the most kind of beloved showrunners in Jonah Nolan, in one of the most beloved games of all time on Prime Video. You must be buzzing your face off right now. I mean, this is like catnip for actors, surely.
Yeah, I am, in your words, buzzing my face off. You might not be able to tell, but this is my face being buzzed off right now. It is crazy and really a pinch me moment, I think. I sort of can't believe I'm here and all of this, and it's incredible. And yeah, I can't believe it.
Speaking to Aaron, he was saying that out of the two of you, you were the bigger gamer. You were more into the game than him. Jonah himself, he played a lot of it.
Yeah,
was that a complete waste of time, or did that feel like you were kind of prepping for the show?
It wasn't a waste of time at all. I wanted to get the absolute most out of this experience, and I think you have to deeply, deeply respect the source material, at least for me, and I love to throw myself into all of my research, but this was so fun. There's so much lore and so much passion behind the games and so many details, and it made it even more exciting when I put the Vault suit on or the Pip-Boy for the first time. Like, that moment was not lost on me, what a big deal that was. So no, it wasn't a waste of time.
And a lot of games like
Now, that all sounds really good, right? It's great to hear. It's great to hear anyone in Hollywood talk like this. Who's the other, the actress who played Ms. Marvel? Aaliyah Khan, or something Khan, I don't know. She said something similar. Maybe I think it was last year, into last year. Maybe it was the beginning of this year. Into last year. This sounds great. It sounds a little rehearsed. It sounds a little prepared. And I'm sure that she's prepared some of this, right? Some of the buzzwords, but I'm kind of wondering, the highly cynical part of me thinks that they have seen the fallout, pardon the pun, of people like Rachel Zegler criticizing source material, criticizing original content, and the backlash from that. And they've probably got an agent, management tapping them on the shoulder, be like, hey, if you get asked about lore or canon, you say this. Okay? Now, I hope she's telling the truth. Seems pretty genuine, but it's a little prepared, maybe. Again, they prepare for these things. They prepare for questions and whatnot. They don't know exactly what every single question is, I don't think, but unless they're like sitting down in one of those prepared interviews or whatever. But anyway, that sounds good. Let's finish.
This seemed like they were kind of unfilmable a few years ago, but since kind of Game of Thrones, everything seems to be able to be created. If you can imagine it, it can be made. But what, for people who haven't played the game, aren't familiar with it, what kind of vibe are we to expect from this? What are we expecting from this?
I would say, most of all, first and foremost, the most noticeable thing about Fallout is the tone. It's the comedy, balancing the light and the dark, how absurd it is. Yes, it's deeply devastating, it's post-apocalyptic, it's satirical and political, but it's also ridiculous and really funny and tongue-in-cheek and smart.
Okay. Well, she talks a big game. It sounds good. I hope she's telling the truth. I hope she's telling the truth. I guess I really have no reason to not believe her. All I got to do is watch the show. I'll give it a whirl. I'll try it. I'll definitely try it. If anything, just to see, because so many people have had so many different opinions on this thing, just to see what all the fuss is about, right? I hope she's telling the truth. I really do. She seems like a nice enough person. She seems pretty lovely. Oh, Lordy. And speaking of lovely women, speaking of lovely, pretty women, apparently Sydney Sweeney is not pretty and can't act. Did you hear about this? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? So, sorry. So apparently, Sydney Sweeney, this lovely lady right here, is not pretty and can't act. That's according to top Hollywood producer Carol Baum. Now, here's Carol, right here in the middle. There's Carol right there. Oh, boy. And there's Sydney Sweeney going to Disney World. There's Sydney Sweeney in a low-cut top. There's Sydney in another low-cut top. My God, let's read the article. Sydney Sweeney isn't pretty and can't act. Top Hollywood producer Carol Baum has hit out at actress Sydney Sweeney following the release of her blockbuster hit film, Anyone But You. Baum, whose work includes Father of the Bride and Shining Through, said the two-time Emmy-nominated actress can't act during a discussion at a screening of her 1988 film Dead Ringers, according to the Daily Mail. She's not pretty. She can't act. Baum reportedly said at the Jacob Bird Center in Pleasantville, New York last week, I don't get Sydney Sweeney. This really sounds like a jealous old woman, doesn't it? The film producer referred to Sweeney's recent rom-com, Anyone But You, in which she stars opposite Glenn Powell, to critique her acting skills. I wanted to know who she is and why everyone's talking about her, Baum reportedly told the audience, calling the film unwatchable. I haven't seen it. Maybe I'll watch it on streaming with the wife. Baum went on to slam the Euphoria alum's appearance, telling the audience that she couldn't come up with a reason for why Sweeney's career had taken off. Really? You can't think of any freaking reason? No reason whatsoever. None. Jealous hag. I said to my class, explain this girl to me. She's not pretty. She can't act. Why is she so hot? She said, recalling a conversation she had with her students at the University of Southern California School of Cinematic Arts. Nobody had an answer. Well, maybe not an answer to your liking. The event moderator, Janet Maslin, confirmed Baum's scathing review following the screening. It is unwatchable, she said of Sweeney's Anyone But You film. Carol Baum said this after we screened Dead Ringers at the Jacob Burns Film Center, and she mentioned having seen Anyone But You on a plane. But Dead Ringers, a book a Baum option based on, I've never seen that BO like based on shortened to that, abbreviated to B/O. I've never seen that. Based on a book Baum option 10 years before David Cronenberg adapted it, gets better and better, Meswit. Okay. So we've got two older ladies who see a young, attractive starlet becoming popular. And the only thing they could do is screen their old movie, tell people why it's good, and then criticize the young one. Okay. All right. No, you're not jealous whatsoever. Wow. Fucking wow. Oh my God. Still, Baum bizarrely admitted that she would take on a project if Sweeney, 26, starred in it. We all want to get the movie made, and who walks away from a green light? Nobody I know, she said. Your job is to get the movie made. Hopefully it's not just about making it. Hopefully it's about making a good movie. Jesus Christ. The Post has reached out to Sweeney's reps for comment. Sweeney solidified her spot in Hollywood following the major success of HBO's Euphoria. She landed a role of Cassie Howard's in the hit series. She became she was nominated for an Emmy, 2 Emmys, 2-time Emmy, nomina. Jesus. All right. Jealous. Okay. What are we going to next? What time is it? 8:30? I'll go for a little bit longer. I don't have too much more to go. So, All right. One thing, there's no easy transition for this one. Not like it's a difficult subject or anything. I just don't have a good transition for it. So, that ain't it. Okay. I actually should have switched this up because I talked about something similar earlier in the show. But whatever, here we are. So you may have heard the video game world is falling apart. It's falling apart at the seams. And Pokemon is no exception, as the Pokemon Go Avatar update causes backlash against Niantic as players are upset by loss of choice for sake of hollow DEI inclusivity. Now, this is Phantom Pulse, written April 18th, 24, by Serena Strauss. Excuse me, I need a drink real quick. Oh, Lord. Madness never ends. Oh, what's that? Sweeney's looks and talent being hailed as the woke culture killer. Maybe we'll take a look at that. Anyway, ADD. Pokemon Go developer Niantic has once again angered its dedicated player base with nonsensical changes that seem to serve no purpose beyond chasing fickle diversity trends. The latest update replaces the classic avatar creator with a severely limited system that strips away player choice and customization options under the guise of inclusivity. And that's what's happening with all this crap, right? They claim to be inclusive, but it's not. Inclusive basically just means less white people, especially less white men. It just does. That's what diverse means to them. Rather than expand representation, Niantic's new changes actively limit self-expression by enforcing restrictive standards that satisfy neither the existing Pokemon Go player base nor those supposedly being catered to. Male and female categories have been removed entirely, replacing varied body types with a handful of androgynous, sexless templates. Diverse hairstyles, once available to all, are now segmented into masculine and feminine options, alienating those who do not conform. Wait a minute. You've removed male and female categories, yet you still indicate that there are male and female options. So it's like, no, you can't be a boy or a girl. You can't be a man or a woman, but you can have manly features. You can have womanly features. Why do they do this? What is the end game here? It is to confuse you. It is to throw your emotions in your mind up into chaos so you're easier to control. Here's Grums. The Pokemon Go avatar changes are pissing off all real women who got their trainers destroyed by unnecessary DEI changes. Yes. Oh, this reminds me. While I'm thinking about it real quick, the government has pushed some changes to Title IX. Now, I don't think this is passed yet, but they are pushing to have Title IX changed in all public any educational foundation that receives any public funding whatsoever will now have to alter its Title IX agreement, or Title IX will be amended. Excuse me, I got real excited about this. Title IX will be amended to remove all special places for women. So now every school, every public school that receives any federal funding whatsoever will have to allow men into women's locker rooms and women's bathrooms at public schools all over the country. Now, I don't think this has been pushed through yet. I could be wrong, but it's been presented. It's being brought to vote or discussion or whatever the hell. I just heard about this yesterday. I don't know too much about it, but it's verified. They're pushing for it. This is the result of companies listening to the insanity of their marketing and DEI departments. They were told this would make women feel welcome, but instead it chased them away. Women gamers want their cute avatars back. Yeah. Who wants this? The Pokemon Go update has been nearly universally rejected by women players who previously felt empowered to create avatars matching their self-image. Now they are left with a pitiful selection of presets that lack even basic anatomical accuracy, all to satisfy a well-funded extremist ideology obsessed with erasing femaleness rather than empowering real women. Rather than enhanced customization that would make Pokemon Go a fan-centered classic, Niantic has limited it severely under the laughable guise of being more inclusive. Female players have lost assets they spent years cultivating thanks to developers prioritizing politics over their existing audience. Yep. These decisions did not occur in a vacuum. Niantic has clearly signaled its intent to leverage Pokemon Go as a vehicle for promoting DEI political finances above entertaining their customers. Why else gut customization, and limit choice if not to push a bought and paid agenda? Casualties of a misguided corporate directive more interested in public posturing than actually improving representation or gameplay. Pokemon Go just happens to be the latest victim. And then they go on and they show a few different examples here. Let's take a look. So yeah, it went from, if you look on the left, very feminine, right? Curves and expressive. On the right, just straight dull. No curves. Change the skin color for some reason. I don't know what's going on with this one. I mean, yeah, it doesn't, the avatar isn't great. I don't know what's going on with that one. Okay. That one's bad. The one on the left, yeah, I mean, standing like a woman, curves like a woman. On the right, very rigid, straight, standing like a man. Yeah, people are pissed off. Look at this. Very feminine. Look at the hips, the legs, standing and everything like that. Very feminine. This can't be the same one. What? Dude, look at this. Look at this. Looks like a girl. Just, out catching Pokemon, having a good time. This looks like a guy dressed up like a girl. This looks like a creep who showed up at, I don't know, like a kid's birthday party and nobody knows who he is. And so he walks around telling everyone, oh, I'm the entertainment. And then you call the cops. Again, kind of that sporty, modern female thing. It's all in the hips and the curves, right? Oh my God, dude, this is bad. Yeah, this is bad. Wow. Oh my God. Wow. I didn't think it would be that bad. Holy shit, what's this one? I'm making the ugliest character ever to throw people off. Okay, all right. So there's that. Players once able to craft unique digital identities reflecting their true selves now find their agency removed by paternalistic developers enforcing restrictive standards under the guise of progress. This is not real inclusivity. It is the replacement of choice with conformity. Niantic is a part of a wider plague, a product of insular corporate groupthink run amok in service of petty DEI radicalism. And people are pissed. I'm trying to remember where I heard this story, but someone was mentioning on a stream, and it might have been a super chat, so I mean, you take it with a grain of salt, right? Take it with a grain of salt. Somebody had stated that they lost their son at the age of, I believe it was 6 or 7, and one of the things that they enjoyed doing with their son before he passed on was play Pokemon Go. And after their son had passed on, they didn't change anything, right? They didn't want to touch it because they could open up the game anytime they wanted, see the avatar, and remember their lost child. And I guess that's basically been erased now because of all of these changes to the avatar. So again, you might want to take it with a grain of salt. You never know on the internet or anything, but for the most part, I'll take you at your word because I I believe people over corporations. Not all people. Just the good weird ones. Not the bad weird, the good weird. All right. So, and this has been pushed on all of us, and it's being pushed by, wonder why she's popular. So it's being pushed by the likes of people like BlackRock. And BlackRock, Larry Fink, the man who said we have to force behaviors on everyone, who said that back in 2017, had a meltdown because he thinks that people continuously lie about what it is his company does. So this actually caught on audio. So let's listen. Let's listen to what Larry Fink has to say about what people are saying about his shit company.
Stoked by increasingly political polarization in the world. Our industry and BlackRock have been a subject of political dialogue, mostly in the United States. We recognize some of this with being the industry leader. We have done a better job now of telling our story so that people can make decisions based on facts, not on lies and not on misinformation or politicization by others. Unfortunately, there's still others out there who put short-term politics, who continuously lie about these issues. They're putting those issues above the long-term fiduciary responsibilities. As a fiduciary, politics should never outweigh performance. I do believe that with a vast majority of our clients, our long-term fiduciary approach and performance are resonating.
Really? Sounds like a lot of projection there, Larry. If anyone,
I've spoken before.
Ah, crap. If anyone's made this political, it's you. Okay? What are the facts, Larry? The facts are that in 2017, you said we have to force behaviors for the sake of diversity and equity and inclusion. And the facts is that you incentivize profit through diversity, equity, and inclusion. The facts are that you have no proof that any of these things make a business better. In fact, by everything that I can see, and all of us, the people, could gather, is that it destroys companies. People have lost their jobs. Companies have shuttered their doors, all in service to your DEI bullshit. So why don't you tell us why you want to push this on everyone? Why do you want to shove this down everyone's throat? The only thing that we ever hear is it's going to make the world a better place. How? Prove it. Show me. Facts. We didn't want this. Nobody wanted this. Nobody. Nobody asked for this. And yet you shoved it down everyone's throat. And now you're pissed off that you're being called out for it. Fuck you. You're one of the worst people on planet Earth. And there's a little evidence of that as Wall Street channeled billions to, well, that's not just Wall Street. Hold on a second. There we go. So, okay, it's there. Wall Street channeled billions to blacklisted China firms, a U.S. probe said. BlackRock and MSCI focus of congressional panel investigation. Uh-oh. Now, this is gonna get deep. Maybe not specifically this article, but we're gonna find out a lot coming up of what BlackRock's been up to. There is a big push to bring Chinese-style communism over here to the United States of America. A big push by politicians and CEOs and all sorts of elites and whatnot, intelligentsia in the university system, the public education system. There's a huge push to get us basically like China. So let's read this. This is on Nikkei Asia. Jack Stone Truitt, staff writer. April 19th, 24. New York, major U.S. financial institutions help steer billions of dollars into Chinese companies blacklisted for their association with China's military or alleged human rights abuses, a congressional committee investigation has found. A report released Thursday, compiled by a House committee in charge of crafting strategies to counter China, found that $6.5 billion was funneled last year through index funds to 63 Chinese companies blacklisted or red flagged by the United States government. Through the products of our own financial industry, America's hard-earned savings and retirement money are supporting the military modernization of a foreign adversary and the development of tools used by CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, to violate human rights. So, right there. BlackRock, Vanguard, and the like are all asset managers. They manage things like 401k funds. And so they're managing, if you work at a big company, right, and you do like a 401k contribution and everything, the money that you make, the money that the employer gives to you, some of that's getting deducted and put into a 401k account, right, for your retirement. Some of that gets deducted. The tax money we pay goes into pensions that eventually ends up getting managed by people like BlackRock. So all of our money, the taxes and all of the money that gets cut out of your paycheck is going to people like BlackRock so they can, quote, manage it. And what do they do with your money? They give it to the Chinese Communist Party. And they try to force behaviors through our culture. Doesn't that make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside? Chinese companies receiving investor cash included Aviation Industry Corps of China, a defense conglomerate that produces aircraft for the People's Liberation Army, and Daqo New Energy Corp, a company associated with the Uyghur forced labor. That's right, the Uyghur forced labor camp, where they have something like 2 million Chinese Muslims or Asian or Muslims in a camp that was thanked by Disney on the live-action Mulan. Remember that? Live-action Mulan credits, they thanked the province with the labor camp. The investigation looked into the broader financial industry, but took particular aim at BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, and MSCI, the major index provider. The report comes 8 months after the committee notified BlackRock and MSCI of the congressional probe. Asset managers like BlackRock use indexes from providers like MSCI to create investment portfolios for retirement funds and other institutional endowments. Companies and their subsidiaries and affiliates that are named on U.S. government blacklists can make their way into these indexes, receiving U.S. investments. The activity outlined in the report is not illegal. Interesting. And both MSCI and BlackRock acknowledge that blacklisted companies have received funding through U.S. funds tracking certain indexes. However, neither company has taken meaningful steps to mitigate or reduce the risk, and both maintain they have limited discretion to independently exclude specific problematic entities. Well, why would they? Why would they? They have no incentive to stop. They have no incentive to stop. The United States government isn't going to tell them, hey, you need to stop taking the money of United States citizens and giving it to Chinese Communist Party. You need to stop that right now. No, government's not going to do that. Government's bought and paid for by people like BlackRock. Spokespeople from both MSCI and BlackRock reiterated that the report confirms that they are in full compliance, because there's nothing that says you can't because you're bought and paid for, but disagree with the assertion of how funds flow through stock indexes. An index is simply a mathematical calculation and performance of blah, 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 blah. We've been cooperating on Congress, blah, blah, blah. What is Congress and the Senate going to do about it? Nothing. They get Chinese money. Interesting. It's almost just a roundabout way of BlackRock being able to buy congressmen and senators, right? They give money to the Chinese Communist Party. Chinese Communist Party turns around and gives it to the senators and the congressmen, and 10% for the big guy. So BlackRock is a vile corporation. Vile. Okay, what do we got left? I think we're going to wrap up pretty quick here. But I did have some other things. I wanted to... there's this NPR shit. All right. Okay, so I don't know if you've heard the CEO of NPR is a woke lunatic, a white liberal woman, who basically said that we don't need truth to operate. Like we don't need to base our content on truth and reality. No, that's crap. That gets in the way of the message. That's what she said. In so many words, maybe so many words, but it appears that maybe she is a government plant. So let's look into it. Catherine Maher, the CEO of NPR, an intelligence spook? Let's look at her resume, and you tell me if it doesn't scream spy. Another thing to keep in mind is that she is only 41 years old. Really? I would have guessed she's a little older just based on the picture. I would have said maybe like, I don't know, 50. Oh, excuse me. Okay. She received her bachelor's degree in Middle Eastern and Islamic Studies in 2005 from NYU. She studied in the Arabic Language Institute at the American University in Cairo, Egypt, at the Institut Français d'études arabes de Damas in Damascus. Double. She previously worked at Stanford University as a lecturer, McCoy Family Center for Ethics and Society. She is a non-resident senior fellow at the Atlantic Council's Digital Forensic Lab, former CEO and director of the Wikimedia Foundation. She's an appointed member of the U.S. Department of State's Foreign Affairs Policy Board, where she advises the Secretary of State. Okay. She served as Advocacy Strategy Communications Director for digital rights organization Access Now. She was an Information and Communications ICT Innovation Specialist at the World Bank. Oh, come on, man. She was an ICT Program Officer at National Democratic Institute. She worked for UNICEF. She's a member of the Council of Foreign Relations. She is a member of the World Economic Forum. Come on, man. Yeah, just your average CEO. All of this to end up leading Wikimedia and National Public Radio? I think this highlights the importance that intelligence government places on information control. Yes, remember what we said earlier when we read this manifesto from the guy who set himself on fire. He's got the quote right on the cover of his manifesto, the Haunted Carnival edition. Quote, "We'll know our disinformation campaign is complete when everything the American public believes is false." That is from CIA Director Bill Casey in 1981. Oh, boy. Both Wikipedia and NPR have been ideologically captured, and that ideology just so happens to align with every elite institution and government agency's demented DEI worldview. Of course, it will never be admitted, but Maher is just one example of a government plant embedded in an influential organization to ensure agendas are executed to their liking. Correct. That's a 15-minute video. We won't go into that. But then there was a whistleblower. Sorry, I am so sorry about all this crap with the window. I really got to get it straightened out. I'm so sorry. Jesus. This looks so bad on the screen. I'm sorry. NPR whistleblower Uri Berliner resigns. "I cannot work in a newsroom where I am disparaged." So basically, this guy, he worked for NPR for 25 years, and he was a whistleblower on this. He called it out, right? He called all of this out. And let me do one more thing here. And they put him on leave, and he finally just quit. Like they suspended him, I think, without pay it was. "I'm resigning from NPR, a great American institution where I have worked for 25 years. I don't support calls to defend NPR. I respect the integrity of my colleagues and wish for NPR to thrive and do important journalism." That's long gone. "But I cannot work in a newsroom where I am disparaged by a news CEO whose divisive views confirm the very problems at NPR I cited in my free press essay." So the whistleblower basically got pushed out. So, remember that CIA quote. They will know their disinformation campaign is complete when everything that you and I believe is a lie. Okay, let's get into the silly and the stupid to finish this day off, shall we? To finish this off, apparently, Doctor Who is going to defeat villains by twerking them to death. That's right. That's what Ncuti Gatwa said. His is a post by Surute. I don't know how to pronounce these names. I think this Doctor Who is going to be shit and stuff, but there's straight-kissing, masked mummies, murder statues, death robots, literally Satan, genetic monstrosities, and all level of horror. Doctor Who is a horror series, and y'all scared the kids will see someone twerk and cry. So this person doesn't care if Ncuti Gatwa twerks. But to quote Ncuti Gatwa, that's what I'm going to put into the universe. I need the Doctor to have a big, fierce dance routine that, destroys a monster with twerking. Or maybe some death drops. And that's what will drop the monster. So Doctor Who went from a gruff, brilliant, little bit older white man who used his brain to solve problems to a diverse queer man who defeats villains by twerking on them. Now, I gotta say, this is like the biggest change of going from traditional to modern, right? There could not be any bigger of a juxtaposition. You went from an old, straight, white guy who uses his brain to solve problems to a young, queer, black guy who wears a dress and twerks monsters to death. It's like, do you think people are going to stick around for this? They don't care. They don't care. Jesus. What else? Oh, yeah. Did you see what the potato in chief said? What the hell? Why did this take me to TikTok? Screw this. Hold on.
And I never found the...
Did you hear what Joe Biden, potato in chief, said about his, I think his uncle it was?
Body, because there used to be a lot of cannibals for real. And that back when D-Day occurred, and on Sunday, the next day, my mother's 4 brothers all went down to the recruiting station and joined the military. Every one of them volunteered.
Okay.
And my uncle, they called him Ambrose Brosey, they called him Bosey. My Uncle Bosey.
Dude, oh my God, he's dying. Get him, put him... He's dying. He could barely speak or keep his eyes open.
He's a hell of an athlete, they tell me, when he was a kid. And he became an Army Air Corps before the Air Force came along. He flew those single-engine planes as reconnaissance over war zones.
Yes.
He got shot down in New Guinea, and they never found the body because there used to be a lot of cannibals for real in that part of New Guinea. And then my son volunteered to go to Iraq for a year, and he came back with stage 4 glioblastoma. And they gave, like many of you, risked your lives, and you know people who gave their lives to the country. They're heroes. But one of the things that as I was doing that today, I was reminded of what my opponent said in Paris.
What?
Not too long ago.
What?
They asked him to go visit American grave sites. He said no, he wouldn't do it, because they were all suckers and losers. I'm not making that up. The staff who was with him acknowledged it today. Suckers and losers.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is supposedly the President of the United States of America. Supposedly. Maybe we'll start doing that. We'll do a daily Joe Biden stupid update. But here's the story I want to finish on, right? This is your good news for the day, I guess. Daily Mail, accountant, 38, bullied at work, wanted to go out with a bang. So he stole 170,000 pounds from his bosses, and he spent it all in one weekend on cocaine and prostitutes. Get that bag, King. Get that bag, King. Daryl Carville, 38, admitted to stealing 260,000 pounds total from a car chain, Mr. Clutch. He spent the cash in a weekend of madness on drug-fueled sex with escorts. His barrister told Maidstone Crown Court Carville was bullied for most of his life. Carville was jailed for 2.5 years. Well, he did steal a lot of money. Oh, boy. I don't know. He doesn't. I mean, he looks like a dork, but not like the biggest dork. He's a dork. An accountant who claimed he was bullied at work decided he would go out with a bang by spending 170,000 pounds of his employer's money on a weekend of cocaine and prostitutes. Accounts worker Darren Carville stole a total of 260,000 pounds from the car servicing chain Mr. Clutch, which he squandered on drug-fueled sex romps with high-class escorts. This guy, you know, we all talk about it. We all talk a big game. This guy walks it. This is all we all say. It's like, we would love to go out like this. I'm going to do this. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. This says it was from 2019. All right, I have a question. Has anyone else seen something? This seems to be some kind of trend. I don't know. There seem to be a lot of older stories popping up on maybe like Twitter or on YouTube. Like, it seems like a lot of things that are older are being recycled. Is that just me? I mean, I know I'm retarded, but I don't know. Something weird going on. There's always something weird going on, but whatever. This is still a great story. The awkward 38-year-old admitted almost bankrupting Mr. Clutch by stealing a fortune because he wanted a weekend of madness. The head office worker was jailed for 2.5 years after admitting 18 fraud charges. Maidstone Crown Court heard Carville of Maidstone, Kent, filed bogus payments to himself after claiming he was bullied at work. The fraudster said he suffered from low self-esteem and became addicted to nightlife of high-class escort parties, being surrounded by glamorous people and drugs, which were believed to be cocaine. Now, that's a club drug. That's a club and hooker drug. There it is. Okay, there he is. Yeah, he looks a lot more dorky in that picture. Okay. That's just an uplifting story, don't you think? Hi, dog. What do you want, dog? Hold on. He was thinking the money would be paid back, but it was deluded thinking that he was merely borrowing the money. Yeah, you stole that money. You can't do that, dude. I respect the moxie. I really do. Oh, we already went over that. I respect the moxie, and I respect the desire to stick it to your employer and tell people to shove it up their ass and all that. Yeah, I guess you went out the way you wanted to go out, man. I mean, he's not dead. I don't want to talk like he's dead. But he quit like a boss. I'll tell you that much. All right, that's going to be it for today. I am going to get back to doing this on Wednesday. I had to take a break from it this week so I could finish the Civil War review, but go check that out. That Civil War review of mine has pissed a few people off. So why don't you go watch it, and you can leave a comment and tell me if it pisses you off. Maybe it does. Maybe I'm wrong. That's probably the most likely thing, that maybe I'm missing something completely in that movie. I have no idea. But I just didn't think it was that great of a movie. I gave it a 4 out of 10. But tell me what you think. Also, I will be watching Rebel Moon 2 later today. I haven't watched it. I was very busy yesterday. I'm going to watch it today. It's supposedly worse than the first one, which is just freaking fantastic. I can't wait. I'm going to need more ketamine. I'm not on ketamine right now. Don't worry. You'd know. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. David, it's great to see you. Good to see you. Thank you for all the support and everything. If you enjoyed what you heard, just hit the like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell thingy. Again, I will. I'm going to be working on the Rebel Moon 2 video. Have that out ASAP. See you Wednesday morning for another live stream. And until then, have a wonderful Sunday. Looks like it's beautiful weather, at least here in Illinois. The crazy state of Illinois with the tyrant government. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Thank you, David. Later. Good to see you, man. Everyone take care. God bless and all that. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. And never stop telling stories, guys. Okay? We'll see you later. Have a great day.